What's up, everybody? Sorry for being a couple minutes late here, but I was out in the shop doing inventory stuff and catching up with the team out there. So, before we get started, I am going to show you guys a little thing that is going to be in a video that's coming out later this week. I'm going to be trying to get this done and out by Friday. But I have the end results of said video, and that video is testing and tuning input shaping on Marlin. And I actually used our Ender 6 that we just put our EasyBoard V2 in, since that's now officially done and supported. And I was actually getting really good speeds out of that machine. I'm surprised at how much harder I could drive that printer by having our new board in there, because I was actually able to bump the currents up quite a bit and get the drivers to go into in and out of spread cycle mode depending on the velocity. So basically, the stock board is not going to be able to switch between modes on the drivers from between stealth chop and spread cycle, where spread cycle gives you more torque, whereas ours, we have really aggressive curves where if the firmware's smart enough to know, hey, we have a really fast move come up, let's screw the drivers running silent, we're going to put it in spread cycle mode, so it's just going to give it more torque. So I've been playing with that and having a lot of fun, and I will be putting Clipper onto that printer. It's going to be kind of my printer I keep around to have Clipper on. But for right now, it's a really good example of showcasing Marlin's input shaping. So basically, if all you want to do is print faster and you don't want to deal with the added complexity that comes with Clipper, you just want to have it either running standalone off an SD card or just simply printing over USB from Octoprint, Marlin is really capable. So I'm going to show you guys really quick here. So I have my camera all zoomed in. These are the input shaping test prints here. So, and what these do is you print it and you can see the compensation as it goes up. Basically, the ringing almost completely disappears. Now, I have two benches here. These are 150% scale. I originally did 200, but 150, I want to do a little smaller. So this one, you can see here, I wrote IS on the bottom. So this is the input shaping enabled one. And this one here is no IS. So this is just stock. So, and there's quite a few parts on here I want to point out that I'm going to show you. And this is not a bad print. So this is 120 millimeters second slice. The printer was actually hitting those speeds. It's one of the reasons I scaled it up, because on smaller prints, you're not going to hit fast speeds. It's just not possible in most cases. So I want to highlight some stuff here. So like what the input shaping is going to do is tuning out the ring. So you can see a little bit of ring here coming off of the curve here, especially on the back side of the boat. You can see coming around the corner here, we got some ringing. You see that there? And then on the corners here, this is where the start and stop is. So you'll see this line here on the other print as well. But you can see the ringing coming off of the side here. You guys see that? So overall, not a bad print for how fast it was printed. But I'm just pointing out the defects because the input shaping tunes almost all of them out. You can see here coming off of to the right of the little porthole here, or whatever you want to call it, there's some ringing there. I probably should have printed this in a silk because it would show up better, but I think you guys get the point. So this is just stock firmware, no input shaping, just a fast tune. I am running 5,000 accels on the printer, so for the accelerations, it's 5,000 was what I'm running on the Ender 6. I probably could go a little more aggressive, but I was trying to find a happy medium between crazy fast, where I'm going to be running into reliability issues, and too slow. So here's with input shaping turned on. So if we look here, look on the sides here, and right here coming around the corner, this is the same exact G code. The only difference is input shaping is turned on. Look at the back here. So there's a tiny bit of ringing, but like side by side here, look at the difference. It's so much cleaner. And this is all done in software. You don't need to purchase any additional hardware. You can run this on your board. As long as you have like a 32-bit board, while you can technically do input shaping on the 8-bit boards, I don't recommend it. They just don't handle it well. But look at all the ringing is gone here. Like the print quality has been improved. I would almost say dramatically, because like look at how nice this came out. Same exact file. The only difference is this one has input shaping turned on and tuned, and this one does not. So again, these are both good prints, but like just the surface detail on both of these prints, even though it's the same printer, same board, same firmware, the difference is the second one right here has input shaping turned on and tuned. Like look at, there's no ringing past here where we would get that on the other one. So where the head is changing direction, you see there's some ringing there. It's gone. Yeah. And this is our in the nude PLA. So that's what I printed that with. That's what was on the printer. So yeah, so I'm going to be doing a video showing how to actually do input shaping. I've already recorded footage of doing all the prints and stuff. You know, and it was moving pretty quick. Let me see here. I can just do a screen share to show you guys. It was cruising. It's crazy how fast the printers can go when you have a capable control board. And this is doing it all standalone. There's no SBC hooked up. It's all doing it on the control board. And our control boards are very capable. They're very fast. Let me see here. I'm seeing if this is the video. So this is doing... So this is the input shaping test. So I started recording this. This will be in the video. I'm going to speed it up. So the first layer is going to go down, and then it's going to do the actual input shaping test. So here. So this is what it does. So it goes around, it prints this test piece, and you can see it's changing direction. So what we're looking for, and what we're looking for in the print is at what height on this print is it the cleanest, and that'll give us our value to put into the firmware for the compensation. So every layer change, it's slightly increasing the frequency that it's compensating on, which is why if you look, it starts out different at the bottom and then it gradually changes to the top. And then basically you take that print off, you measure on the Z, okay, what height is the cleanest print quality at, and then you put it into our calculator we have, and it will tell you exactly what commands to run or what settings to put in your firmware. So for example, let's say it was, because on the Core XY, I typically will run the same. So let's say like 35, it looks best at 35 millimeters. This is going to give you the compensation in hertz. So you can send this G-code command for each axis if you want, or you just put this into, on the printer LCD, there's input shaping menu, and you would put this in for the value for what frequency it's compensating on. So you can see here, our calculator, as you change values, you know, it will go ahead and change the output of what frequencies you need to compensate on. Now, if you have a Cartesian printer like an Ender 3 or an Ender 5, that kind of stuff, that's not a Core XY, you're probably going to have different values for your X and Y compensation. So it'll run on almost any machine that's got a 32-bit board. I did notice on the Creality boards, the stock boards, it does work, but the LCD becomes slow because basically the processor is being tied up and it's prioritizing the print over the LCD, and the LCD does take up CPU cycles to draw what's on the screen. Yeah, so if you want to play with it, we will be having a video coming out. Our current Unified 2 firmware has input shaping in it. You just need to enable it. It's under the community requested feature, so this will be a just kind of an added feature. Not like something that we'll be doing technical support on, although if you do need help, we do have that as a paid service. But anything in our community features is kind of like little bonuses, like, hey, these are new stuff that you can play with, and I'm going to do videos to accompany that so you guys can learn how to use it. After that, I will be messing with Clipper on that printer and doing some stuff with Clipper content on there, just because it's a fad that's not going away anytime soon, so I figure I might as well do some content on it, even though it is not something I'm a huge fan of. Like, it's cool, but it's a lot more involved than Marlin. You know, and basically my recommendation is if you're somebody that uses the printer as a tool and you need the printer to be working, I would stick with Marlin. And then if you need a network access type tool, so you don't want to be dealing with SD cards, Octoprint plus Marlin is a really good combination. It's very reliable. We've been running that setup here for almost 6 years now. But if you are a tinkerer, Clipper is definitely a firmware for people who want to tinker and don't mind reading through, you know, pages and pages of documentation and figuring out how to set things up. So, you know, there's trade-offs of both. They're both very capable of firmwares, but the bottom line is if you use your printer as a tool, and the printer is not like your tinker thing, then I would definitely recommend sticking with Marlin over Clipper, just because Clipper is a lot more involved. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into the videos here, or videos, the questions. So Thomas is the first question. He said, do you have any Ender 3 Pros where the main board is only accessed from the bottom, essentially having to flip the printer upside down to work on it? So all the Ender 3 Pros came like that. So if you have a fan on the top of your, like the fan is on the top, like you're looking down at the printer and it's between the bed, like you can see the fan, that's an Ender 3. The Ender 3 Pros all had their fans on the bottom, and the main reason they did that, from what I understand, is to prevent filament from falling inside it. So in terms of an alternate solution, you could try to find or design a mounting solution that you take the factory box out, print a new one, and put it in. I wouldn't recommend that because there is a benefit to having the fan on the bottom. It's not going to be as prone to getting filament dropped in it and damage the fan or stop the fan from moving. I prefer to have the fan on top, and all the Ender 3 Pros, as far as I know, came like that. So basically, Ender 3 versus Ender 3 Pro. The 3 Pro originally came with a Meanwhile power supply, but if you guys watch the channel, you know that Creality cheaped out on that, and now they're shipping their knockoffs. So that was a big plus that came with the Pro that is no longer relevant in 2023. Basically, if you buy an Ender 3 Pro, you're getting it. You're more than likely getting a knockoff power supply unless you're getting somewhere that had old stock. The other difference with the Ender 3 Pro is they came with a 40-40 extrusion on the Y instead of a 20-40. It's supposed to be a little more stable. I have both. I don't really see that as, oh my God, this is an amazing game changer. They both work. The 2020 versus the 2040 versus the 40-40. They both give really good print quality as long as you have the V-slot wheels adjusted. Like, that's the biggest thing, is the V-slot wheels being properly adjusted. And then the other thing with the Pro is the placement of the fan. So on the Pro, it's on the bottom. On the non-Pro, it's on the top. And then, yeah, that's another thing too. Yeah, you're going to have a knockoff processor if you buy an Ender 3. They are no longer shipping the STM32 chips. I think what they're doing is they're keeping the genuine STM chips for their aftermarket boards. So like the 427, that's one of the boards we carry from them. And it's a good board for the price. But yeah, the stock boards, even on the Pros, they're showing up with the knockoff processors. So yeah. All right. So let's see, the next one here, let me see here, is from Matt. Matt said, I'm having an issue after I put a multi-mount on Ender 3 Pro. I have the Easy ABL on the left side, and I can't seem to get the offset correct. It has the Easy ABL, it also has a 50-15 on the Easy ABL. So and this is in general for any sensor mount, not just our multi-mount. So one, for our multi-mounts, we actually have the measurements documented in our support center, so you don't have to measure them. You can if you want to. But I can grab my test printer, but basically in general, if you don't have sensor offsets or you can't find something, whether it's for one of our products or others, we typically document ours. You're just going to take calipers and then measure the distance from the nozzle to the center of the probe on X and Y. So do it both directions, and then you enter that into the firmware. What you also have to make sure is that you're getting it in the correct value. So there could be a positive or negative offset depending on if the sensor is to the left or right on the X of the hot end, or the front to the back on the Y. And let me pull up. I think I have some firmware here I can show you guys here. That's already on my computer. So basically for the multi-mount, that would be considered a custom probe setup. And you would basically, I'm assuming you're using our firmware, you would tell it that, okay, so this is my Ender 6 config here. You would tell it that you're using a custom probe in our firmware, and then you would scroll down to the bottom, and you're looking for the custom probe settings. See here, custom probe for Easy ABL or BL Touch, and then you would put the offset in here. Now for the multi-mount, I know we have these documented, so I'm gonna go here, multi-mount system on our support center here. Oh, there it goes. Multi-mount, I think it's on the system guide. It's either on the system or the accessories guide. It's been a while since I looked at this because I built my multi-mount printers and I haven't looked at it in a little bit. All right, let's see. Installing multi-mount, mounting accessories. I think it's under the accessories. Yeah, here we go. So it's under the accessories. So you have a 50-15 fan plus Easy ABL mount. So you can either set it via G-code. I don't recommend that, but I would do the custom probe setup here. So if you have it on the left side, your left side mount offset is going to be -57 and -4. If it's on the right, it's going to be 57 and -4. So we do have these all documented here. So 50-15 fan plus Easy ABL combo mounts. I'll paste this into the chat here, so you have that. There we go. But yeah, so left side, it sounds like you have it on the left. So basically it'd be -57, -4. So I go into my firmware and just paste that in. And there we go. Now I have the offsets. Now the thing is, if you set, so let's say I compile this, I hit compile. I think this should compile. I just changed what mount I'm using. You go ahead and compile this. My video might get a little choppy here because compiling firmware takes up a lot of CPU. You will flash the firmware then to the printer by grabbing the bin file. So if you're compiling it on your computer like I am here, it would be in the PIO build folder. And then if you're using our EasyBoard, it'll be an EasyBoard 2. But there will be a folder for the board you're using. This name might be different depending on what board you're using. I'm compiling for the EasyBoard V2 right now, so it's going to be the EasyBoard V2 folder. But once this is done compiling, there will be a bin file. You put that bin file in your SD card and you put that into the printer's board with the power off and turn it on, and then it'll flash the firmware. Now, the thing you need to do before you try to home everything is you have to reset the EEPROM, because the EEPROM will store those settings for the offsets, and if you don't reset it, it's not going to then now load the new firmware default. So by default, whatever old offset you had in there is going to be still in the EEPROM until you reset it. So if you make any changes in the firmware, like E-steps, nozzle to probe offsets, so your bed leveling sensor offsets, you want to reset the EEPROM. If you don't reset the EEPROM, you're not going to see any changes with where it homes. So hopefully that clears that up. But in general, everything we have in terms of product documentation is going to be on our help center, which is the support.th3dstudio.com. And if for some reason you can't find it, you can send us a ticket if our live chat's not available, or just send us a message on live chat. And then we can send you a link. So, all right. Matt's, or what? Yeah, just answered that one. Justin Dybell, Tim doing Clipper. What is that, man? And what did you do with him? I'm trying to be more open about playing with stuff. I will say though, after like just basic stuff like setting up a filament sensor is really complicated in Clipper when I don't think it should be. But we're going to get stuff like that documented to help people get that done. It's still not going to be a thing that we're going to cover with our included product support, but we do have our paid support. Basically, like the goal of our Unified 2 firmware is to get you up and running quickly. Clipper is more of an advanced thing, and we're trying to think of ways to try to do kind of like what we did with Marlin, but for Clipper. But because it is a whole software stack, like I don't know if you guys caught my EasyBoard V2 video about putting Clipper on it. Just putting the firmware on the printer and setting up your printer.cfg file is just one step of the whole system, and you have to have all these parts. You got parts that are built on top of each other, and all those parts have to be working correctly. So the big complaint I've heard with people who use Clipper is that you got to be very careful when you're updating things, because there could be something that breaks part of that whole stack of software that then makes the whole printer not usable. And that's the whole reason why I probably won't put it in production. I'm not going to say ever, because it might change later on, but for a long time, we're going to be sticking with our Marlin, our Unified 2 Marlin setup plus Octoprint for our company printers here, just because it works. And regardless of what some people say, you can get fast print quality out of Marlin. I just literally showed you guys prints at 120 millimeters a second. So yeah. All right. Thomas Patry, I hope I said your name. Can you do an updated video on the dual Z axis you sell? I get it installed, but I get horrible Z banding on my prints. Once I remove the kit, the banding goes away. So I don't know what a new video would be, because the installation's the same. The only thing that's changed on our dual Z kits from the initial release to the current one is we modified the bracket that is the tensioner to be a little bit longer, so you can position it in different locations based on what you have on the printer. But if you're getting banding, that means something is binding up, and basically you're going to want to loosen stuff up and make sure it's all aligned. Because if you have like one of the sides where it's binding up, and like maybe the gantry block, or not the gantry block, the bearing block at the top that holds the lead screws, if that's off center with the rest of the machine, you're going to get binding. So basically what I do is when I get the kit installed, if I'm having issues with it binding, I will loosen up those top blocks. And I will run the gantry up and down and see where the blocks kind of settle out, and then tighten them down. The other thing you can check too as well, which I had and it just escaped me. I'm looking at my printer to say, the eccentric nuts on the Z. So if your eccentric nuts on your Z, there's two of them on the Ender 3. There's one on the left inner side and the right inner side. If those are over tightened, you will also get Z banding, because it's putting too much drag on there. The other thing to note is that if your Z towers are also not lined up. It could be even a frame issue. It's going to screw with how the whole system works. So anytime I've had binding, it's been because I didn't line something up when I put the kit on it. It's just something you're going to have to loosen things up and then move the gantry up and down. I usually will just grab the belt that links the two Z-rods and move it up and down and see what is moving, you know, because if I see that gantry block, or the bearing block, I should say, at the top of the lead screw move, I know something's binding up and it's wanting to like force it into position. So in general with printers, I found the easiest way, if you are having weird stuff where it's not squared up, or maybe, you know, your Z towers are slightly pulled in, like you might not see it, but they're slightly pulled in versus the bottom, so it's kind of slant, is loosen everything up and just move things manually and feel where you're feeling resistance, and then that should tell you where you need to make adjustments. One thing I do on the Ender 3s a lot, especially when I have a customer bring me a printer, because I have been doing printer repairs for local people here, is a lot of their Z gantries are not actually flat. They're like this a little bit. I'm exaggerating with how much I'm twisting my hands, but it's just enough to screw up the motion of the system. And usually what I'll do is I will loosen up the two bottom bolts that hold the gantry to the printer frame, and I'll loosen the top ones out and just kind of let everything settle out. And again, move the gantry and use the gantry to kind of line everything and then tighten it all back down. But yeah. There's also, and I'm always going to recommend this, there's Jim from the Edge of Tech. He has, I think it's called the Ender 3, like performance assembly guide or something like that. I know there's going to be people in the chat that know what I'm talking about. Yeah, what's it called? Like, I'm going to find the link here. But he has a really good playlist that goes over, try to find it here, that goes over like different tips and tricks, that's based off of Luke Hatfield's guide. Here we go. I found it. I'm going to put it in here. So yeah, so he has it broken up into sections. The X gantry rework. Now here's the thing. If you have any printer, okay, that has the same kind of design, it will apply to that printer. Like it'll apply to CR10s, the CR10S4, the CR10S5, the CR10V2, anything that's got the same style gantry, this guide will apply to. Just because it says Ender 3 doesn't mean it's only for the Ender 3. It'll work on any other printer that has the same type of setup, which is a lot of them. So definitely check that out. You guys need to answer more questions. We're only 20 minutes in. 20 minutes, 26 minutes in. And we got only one more question here. So you guys, I do got time. Go ahead and put more questions in the chat. Pab TV, I do see no more giveaway. We're doing a stream giveaway instead of having a giveaway form, because not many people were actually filling out the form. So we'll reward the people that actually watch live, and we'll do a giveaway towards the end of the stream. So all right, so Pab TV says, how do I print on the smooth side of the Easy Flex? I already have the Easy ABL. The texture side works great, the smooth not so. So that's because our plates are single-sided plates. There are manufacturers and people selling dual-sided textured and smooth. The manufacturer we get our plates made through actually offers that, but what I found is because the smooth side is not actually a sheet of PEI, it's a sprayed on, like fairly, not as thick as a PEI sheet. It's just a couple layers of the PEI baked on there, just like the textured is. It doesn't work well. Now, if you want to print on the smooth side, you can, using something like my favorite stuff that I think Krista stole my bottle. She stole my bottle of Vision Miner and did not bring it back. Well, you can put Vision Miner on a steel bare plate and it will stick prints down. I have done it before. I definitely have talked about that in other streams, that if you don't want to risk damaging your surface, you can literally use Vision Miner to print on a bare steel plate, or even a bare printer bed for stuff that's a little more aggressive like PETG or TPU. It will stick it down to bare steel plates. I have done it before. I've printed right on a bed with just Vision Miner. But yeah, that's a good little hack, because there's nothing there for it to screw up if you think about it. If you're just printing on a bare steel sheet, it's just the adhesion. That's it. So, all right. Let's see. Dominic Versetto is the next one. He said at Rocky Mountain Rep Fest, Rumpf, or his, I think Justin says it's Romurf. I still am reading it as Rumpf. Did you look at the Fabrico Core XY conversion for the Ender 3? I did see that. I just feel like if you're going to put that much work into it, just build a new machine. I mean, I guess if you really want to use it, I mean, how much are you really saving versus keeping your Ender 3 around as an Ender 3? I personally don't see the appeal of it. I mean, I'm curious. What do you guys in the chat? Would you rather, because you're basically rebuilding the entire machine for the most part. You're taking the whole thing apart. I personally don't see the point of it, but hey, you guys do you. I would much rather just, if I'm going to put that much work into a printer build, I'd rather just build a second printer and have the Ender 3 kicking around for a backup or to pass down to somebody else. You know what I mean? That's just me. All right. Yeah, I did see it. It's cool. It's a cool idea, but you know, I guess maybe if you're like super limited on space, but I mean, you could also probably sell your Ender 3 if it was in working condition and then put that into another build. That's just my 2 cents. This whole stream is just my opinions on stuff and my experience getting passed down to you guys. You can take it or leave it. I'm just here to chat with you guys and talk shop and hopefully answer your questions. 3D Experiment says Vision Miner for PETG on glass. I'm afraid to try PETG on glass. So yeah, Vision Miner works on any bed surfaces. I put it on glass. I put it on PEI plates. I put it on polycarbonate sheets. It works on all of them. It's not going to screw it up. But here's the thing. Even if you have, so Vision Miner promotes adhesion and it also has a release agent in it. So basically it not only helps it stick while the printer's hot, but it also helps the print release when it's cool. Now, if you put it down on if you put it down on glass and let it dry, if your Z height is too close, your nozzle is basically going to push through the layer of the Vision Miner, and then it's going to be like there's nothing there. So in general, with PETG and TPUs are not as bad, but they can be. So I just kind of lump them together. PETG likes to stick to things, whether it's glass, whether it's a PEI sheet, whether it's a polycarbonate sheet. If it's some sort of surface, it's going to try to bond with. The only thing I have not had it embed itself into and not be able to get off is bare metal. So PETG is a nice material once you get everything tuned and set up and you get your profile dialed in. But it is a very aggressive filament when it comes to bonding to build surfaces. So if you don't want to risk it, I recommend people just printing either on the bare bed if they don't have a flex plate, or if you have like one of our flex plates where the other side is completely bare, put some Vision Miner on there and print directly on there, because even if you're too close, it's not embedding itself into the metal. Yeah, but I have had PETG when I used to print on glass. I haven't printed on glass in years now since we've been doing the flex plate stuff. Like I can't go back. I had PETG bond even with hairspray on there. It was back in the Aquanet days. You guys remember how long many of you guys have been around when Aquanet was the thing? You'd be spraying it on the bed, and you have people spraying it on their printers without taking the bed off, and they're getting hairspray all over their motion stuff. It was horrible. But that's what we did. We didn't have flex plates and all this fancy stuff just a couple of years ago. But yeah, I even had it bond to the glass, even though Aquanet was there. I know it's still a thing. Yeah, I know some people are still doing it. I can't go back. I can't go back to not using flex plates. It's one of those things that like, I use it. Once you know what you're missing, it's hard to go back, you know? All right, Kyle, aka Viper, he said, what would be the lowest meanwhile power supply if I'm using an AC bed on a CR10 S5? You could probably go down to a 50 watt, but I would probably give yourself a little more headroom and go with a, like the LRS 100-12. They do make the LRS series in different wattages. I think it's like 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, and 300 and 350. They're in increments, but I would probably do like 100 watt. There's no need for a 350 watt power supply if you're not drawing the bed. You got to remember on most of your printers, the bed is the biggest draw. So if you get rid of the bed and you go to an AC bed, you can go down on your power supply size. So, all right. 3 experience is how about laying down a raft of PLA before printing PETG just to be safe? Well, that would work, but I mean, PETG kind of bonds PLA, probably bonds good enough. I don't like printing on rafts. I mean, that would work. It's just more involved. you can do it. Give it a shot. I don't think anything bad would come of it. The only thing with rafts are you're going to get a rougher surface on the bottom versus printing directly on the bed. I can't remember last time I printed on a raft. I think the last time I printed on the it's got to be years. Like probably when I first started off. You know, that's another thing I notice is like you can kind of tell if somebody's new if they're printing on a raft or not. All right. Max GS, any update from Tor on the CR10 V3 multi-mount adapter? I sent a message via Site's chat. I was curious. The metal bracket wasn't for sale anymore. So yeah, so the metal brackets were very expensive for us to make, and like nobody bought them, so we didn't have more made. He is working on a printed adapter, just like we have with other machines, to do that. I think he's in chat here. Tor, are you in chat? I'm gonna put that on Tor. He's usually in our chat here, but I'm gonna copy this message here, and I'm gonna paste it into our work chat here. There we go. It's showing he's AFK. I know he had to run out to get some Pepto. His tummy was bothering him today. So he might still be at the store because he went at about 3:30. All right. We still got time for more questions. We're getting through these pretty quick. All right. I don't think he's in here. Hang on. Hey, it's Tor. Yeah, I don't think he's watching here. All right. So you guys need to put exclamation point Q in front of your questions so the bot picks it up. So if you didn't get a reply from the bot, that means I'm not going to see your question. So please put that in there. It's hard going through chat while I'm streaming to pull questions out. So that's why we have the chat bot here. I wish there was I wish there was a better way to do it. If anybody has any suggestions on a better way to get the questions, let me know. Like if I can have it like grab something that, hey, if this has a question mark at the end, grab it, and then I'd rather filter out ones and see what's going on from there. All right. JT says Chowthink has made a dual Z ball screw upgrade. Would it be a good upgrade? Or I've never heard of Chowthink. I mean, that sounds like a just random Chinese company. They they like their random weird names. I think a ball screw on Ender 3 would be overkill. I'm gonna look it up and see, unless this is some what's it called? Someone asking. I accidentally deleted the comment, so I don't remember who asked it now at this point. I googled that company name, and their site is taking like a really long time to load. It's just sitting here spinning. I mean, that's not looking that great. Why is their site so slow? It is so slow. I'm trying to find their website. It's just sitting here spinning. Their website's down. Or on the struggle bus, one of the two. I'm just looking through here. I don't see anything. I think I found an Amazon store here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just some random Chinese company. The name sounds like some random Chinese company. Hang on, let me see if there's like an about the seller or something. Let me see. Oh yeah, it's it's definitely a Chinese seller. Called it just by the name. They have like the weirdest names. Yeah, let me see. So they have one, it's just one, it's not even, is it dual or single? Oh, so it's $60 per side. Yeah, I wouldn't spend the money on that. Like that's really expensive. Like I would rather just run a dual Z kit. And the reviews do not look great. Like the bends are not good. I would pass on that. That's really expensive for really expensive for what it is. I don't think it's going to, I don't think it's going to work. Amazon abandoned Amazon. I order from them only when I absolutely have to. Like if I need something really, really fast. Otherwise, I spend elsewhere. I got a lot of places that I buy directly from, like through their websites, and there's other small businesses I found through eBay that have been really good. So, but Amazon is my absolute last resort. I hate buying from them because they give me used crap all the time. I hate it. All right. Awesome Angel says, should the heat brake be tight after heating the nozzle? If it was hot tightened correctly, yes, it should. If your heat brake is not tight, then you need to heat the nozzle back up to 240C is usually what I do. And then I'll tighten it down by hand. And when you tighten your nozzle, you don't want to go super crazy. I always do it by hand. I don't have any specific numbers. I just get my socket out and I just snug it up. You know, it's right before you would be, you know, 2 turns past stripped. You don't want it super hard. But yeah, your heat brake should not, everything from your heat brake down to the heater block, all that stuff, everything on your hot end should be nice and tight. If it's not, then you need to hot tighten it. So, but yeah, I've actually gotten pretty good. I was thinking about putting more Revos on my printers just for ease of swapping nozzles, but I've actually gotten really good at tightening nozzles down. Like knock on wood, I haven't had a nozzle leak from a change in over 2 years now. So just watch. I'm gonna get screwed on the next nozzle change. 3 experience. Was that actually you doing a Clipper video or deep fake? I don't know. Was it a deep fake or was it actually me? Guess we'll never know. Michael Lancaster SVO6 Plus update on the firmware. It's still in the box. Here's a good indicator of when we are going to be doing firmware stuff or general stuff to a printer. If you see it on a stream, usually within a week or 2, we have everything out for it, because it sits on the bench for a while and then that's it. Instead, I decided to get the Ender 6 done, instead of doing an SVO6 Plus, but the SVO6 Plus is the next in the printers. And I see another question from SKL. He said, do we plan on doing an LCD kit for the SVO6 Plus? Yes, I saw the screen it came with. It sucks. I'm not surprised. I think, isn't that the same crappy screen that came on the SVO1 Pro? Because I think it is. And if it is, it was rough. All right. Clack says, I want to open source my touchscreen interface for HMI panels. It has a drag and drop interface and anyone can use it. Any advice? Send us a message with it. I'll check it out. I would love to have, like, here's the thing. I don't dislike touchscreens just for the sake of disliking touchscreens. I dislike the type of touchscreens that are used on these Chinese printers because you can't do shit with them. If there was a nice touchscreen that integrated with, you know, all these different open source firmwares like Marlin and Clipper and stuff, that would be amazing. And now I know Clipper has their, what is the Clipper screen, which is like another standalone thing that just brings up a web interface. So I guess that really isn't that needed on the Clipper side of things. Because Clipper is basically just showing you a web UI. There's also, I think it's called OctaScreen, which is what Clipper screen is forked from, that will give you a touch screen, but it's basically just a web interface. It's just controlling the printer over the data connection, if that makes sense. So, all right. SKL, did Rumorf have any hours get together or any after hours get togethers? Yeah, they did. We went out to dinner with a couple of people. They had some kind of larger ones. We went to one the first night we were there, and we kind of did our own thing with some of our own people while we were there. But yeah, there were after hours stuff there. That was a good event. It's going to be really hard for me to choose IRF over Rocky Mountain Rep Fest unless IRF has a huge turnout this year, because Rocky Mountain's turnout was over 3,000 people, and this was their first event. Also, just like the location, I know it's a little bit, it's about 5 to 6 hours more of a drive for us to go to Colorado than to go to East Coast Rep Fest, but like, it's just a nicer location. So like, you know, when I go to these events, I'm technically taking time off work aside from when I'm working at the event. So like, to go to a place that's nice to be at, Rocky Mountain definitely has IRF beat, because like Maryland's kind of boring. Am I offline? My stuff just turned off behind me. All right, I'm assuming I'm still streaming. For some reason, my Home Assistant thinks that we're not streaming anymore. YouTube says we are, so I guess Home Assistant's just being stupid today. All right, so, oh, you know what? It's probably because I haven't moved. Hang on. Yep, there go my lights. It's because I haven't moved. My motion sensor is right here. Come on. And it's not going to turn off the fancy lights again. So I'm going to, it's fine. I will manually turn them back on. There we go. Anyways, because I heard all this stuff turn off, I was like, what's going on there? Can we turn on? My logo light's not cooperating. Oh well. All right. Buddy B Gaming says, I'm looking to get the Easy now. I wonder if I have to need to buy the 5-volt wire, the 5-volt power adapter. I'm assuming you mean if I have the EasyBoard V2. You do not. The EasyBoard V2 has it built in. So someone was banned. Wait. Oh, you guys, I thought you were talking about our live chat. Yeah. All right. Anyways, 3 experiences. Did you check out the high flow Revos? I did see their short they posted yesterday from TCT. Chris and I are thinking about going to TCT tomorrow. Today I didn't want to just because of the stream, but we did get some tickets. We got free tickets, so yay for finding discount codes. But yeah. So all right, it is 4:47. I got time for, I don't know, a couple more questions if you guys want. All right. Mears 51 is the next one. He said, for the sake of discussion, what would it take to convert a monoprice Maker Select Plus to use an EasyBoard V2 and a 12864 display? The basic printer is a 24-volt dual Z direct drive, meanwhile power supply. I am familiar with that. I had that printer at one point. I ended up parting it out. You could do the conversion. I think I still have the stock board. Let me see. I think I see it in here. Yes, here it is. Here's my stock board. So this is going to be the pain in the ass here, is this right here. Do you guys see this? And this is why I don't like ribbon cables. So this is the stock board. There are no drop-in replacements other than the stock board that I'm aware of that are for that printer. So here's the thing. If you can figure out what these pins are on here, and you could probably figure that out by looking at the traces. Like just looking at here, I see like a thick trace going over to a ground plane. So I could probably assume that that's the hot end negative, or a positive. That's not going to ground plane. It's going to positive. And then I see the MOSFET right next to the plug. You guys see that? See that little pad there? It looks like these first 4 pins are used for the hot end as well as the second 4. This is the kind of stuff you got to do and probe it out. Yeah, so you could do it. It's going to be a decent amount of work. You're going to have to design a mount to put the display in there. And I don't know if the EasyBoard V2 will physically fit inside that printer because this is the board. And just for comparison, got a bunch of ANET boards in here. But this is like a Creality 2.2 board, which is a similar footprint to our EasyBoard. Actually, I have an EasyBoard V2 right here. So it's wider. Do you see the problem here? Now, I don't think this will fit in there. You'd have to you're going to be making adapters and figuring out pins. Now, if I had the printer here, I could do it. It's just the amount of time it would take and what I would charge to that would be more than just buying like an Ender 3 and getting rid of the monoprice Maker Select. Like that's the thing. Like, you know, it's definitely going to be a DIY project. It's not something I would probably even want to do if somebody paid me to do it. I'd just be like, listen, dude, just go buy an Ender 3 and, you know, be done with it. You know, even the Ender 3 Pros that have the crappy power supplies, like you have way more ease of upgradability with that than you do like the monoprice Maker Select. So, you know, that's a problem with these ones that are you know, using like proprietary stuff, you know, their own boards that are like not following any sort of standard, the ribbon cables. It makes it really hard to repair and upgrade things down the road. It's not impossible. It's just more difficult, if that makes sense. I like gum now. Sorry. All right. I think that's all the questions. Pab T was asking about the Discord server. Yeah, we can go to Discord. Our Discord is discord.th3dstudio.com. I'll post it in the chat. There you go. What board was that? A Melzi? Nadir's at? No, this is actually the Plus. It has a 2560 on it, which is not a Melzi. So there you go. But because I don't throw anything away, I also have the one from the original i3, and this is the Melzi. So, and that's the 1284. So if you guys ever hear us referring to a board as a Melzi board, those were the 1284p. So like this is also technically a Melzi board. This is an ANET board. And then this is also an ANET board, another one. I keep all these on hand because if I need to test something, I have them. I also apparently have two ANET 1.7 boards. I think it's because I pulled them out of machines that I decommissioned. But apparently I have two of them. And then right here, this is from Troncy, another Melzi board. So this is what the Melzis typically looked like. They were like these long boards. So, all right. Okie dokie. Let's see. Are there any other questions? There's no other questions. You guys are very quiet today. Why? I came in a couple minutes late, and you guys still. Usually, I'm swamped with questions. All right. Thomas got one here. Have I played around with dual/multi extruder setup on any of your printers so you can print with multiple colors of filament? So I have done. I've done two independent hot end setups. So like two hot ends mounted right next to each other. That was a pain in the ass. I think the best multicolor setup, like ease of use once you got the tool changes done, is a Y adapter into a single hot end. Basically, you have two extruders with a single hot end. You're pushing filament in, you're printing with this one, and then when you do a color change, it will retract. The key to this, and these working correctly, is you actually go move your head off to the side, push a little bit out, and then retract fast past the Y. And then you feed the other one in, do a little bit of a purge, and then you go back to printing. That's what I've done. That one worked the best. The only printer I had that came stock with a dual, I shouldn't say the only one. The one that actually worked well was actually the CRX, the Creality CRX, which I just don't do a lot of multicolor printing, so I got rid of it. I sold it. And then I also had a Palette 2S Pro, which worked really well. But again, I don't use a lot of stuff. Yeah. So I have seen the Chameleon thing. I stopped looking at their stuff when their first or second version came out because they were literally hot plugging stepper motors, and that can damage your drivers. Like, it was a very careless design. And we actually had customers damaging our control boards. They were blowing the e-drivers out because they were using the Chameleon thing, and the early versions just straight up disconnected the stepper motor and plugged another one in, as if you just unplugged it and plugged in another one, and you're not supposed to do that with drivers. So that's why I never touched it. I did talk to the guy that designed the Chameleon at Rocky Mountain, and he said they have a new version that has actual electronics instead of the janky switch setup they had, because the first one was really rough. And like I said, we had customers damaging their control boards using their product on the older one. The new one I can't really comment on, but he said that, because I talked to him, and he said that they have a new one that has its own electronics that does that switching gracefully. So it's not hot plugging them. So yeah, you got to be careful with some of the stuff, because some of the stuff, people will sell, it looks cool, but it can actually cause damage to your printer. And the early versions of those were one of them. I actually look up here, because I know he had one for the Bamboo, and it's like independent. Yeah, I see Griffin's in here. Yeah, I remember that first version of Chameleon. It was rough. Like, we straight up told people, if you put this on your printer and you blow your driver out, we're not warranting it. Like, it was really bad. Let's see. I don't mind giving him a little shout out. Again, I haven't used this. So MK3. So this is the third version then. And they have a control board here. The question is, what is that control board doing? I'd be really curious to see And like, what do they do for the slicer? Because your slicer needs to be aware of it. Yeah, so they have this is a newer version, so they must have changed stuff out. I wish they had pictures of the I wish they had pictures of the setup here. I want to see what's in the box. So they still are using the Y splitters, which is fine. I'm really curious about the electronic side and how they're handling that. No firmware or electrical modifications are necessary. So how is it interfacing? So I know it has a button, right? Extrude a hot end. I wish he had more pictures on here. This website's very basic. Getting started support. It's not super active. What is this? I'm looking here. Good luck, man. I struggled with this thing for a month and a half. Never got a decent print. More struggle than result. Useless help following rabbit hole and rabbit hole. Definitely false advertising going on here. Wish it worked, but I'm betting if a survey was taken, the amount of customers is incredibly small versus sold amounts. Amount of pleased customers. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not seeing a ton, like, these are text, like you can take pictures of what to do. Let's see. Print appropriate amounts. The crib notes follow these videos on the YouTube channel. Let's see what's on here. So this is an hour long. I want to see what's in here. I mean, here's the thing. A setup like this, you're going to have a lot of setup on the slicer side. There's no way around that just because of how this stuff works. So we got adapter plates for the motors. I'm really curious to see what that box is doing. Let's see. Because these Y adapters have been around for a while. See Me CNC made them. I think he's having See Me CNC make them. They look like the See Me CNC design. Be really curious to see how well this actually works when put into practice. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, God, I feel better about our videos. All right. Anyway, sorry I went down that rabbit hole. I'll have to look into it because I'm curious to see, like, I'm just looking through their, what's it called? Their forum, and it's not that great looking, sadly. All right. Anyways, let's get back on task. I should buy one to play with. I don't got time right now. Someone wants to buy one and send it, I'd be glad to screw with it, but I don't get. Well, actually, no. I mean, I'd rather buy a printer. They're $200. I'd rather buy a printer than a product like that. So, anyways, all right. 3 Experience is asking about the ERCF. That's like a Voron thing for multicolor. I have not played with it, so I can't comment on it. Bean 5, any benefit of upgrading an Ender 3 to a V6 hot end? Well, you'll have a little bit more nozzle selection, although that's not really a big reason at this point. But doing higher temp materials is going to be a lot easier on there because it's got the bigger heat sink. A little more mounting options, you know, like you got our multi-mount and a bunch of other stuff. The Hero Me supports that stuff too as well. basically more mounting and cooling options than the stock hot end. It is just a better design. Even though the V6 is an older design, we still sell V6 style hot ends. We call them our tough hot ends since that is an open source design. We do get our own made. I don't even know if E3D is still making the V6. I'm curious. Isn't there stuff like E3D online? Because I know they're all on the Revo stuff. But the thing is, the Revo's a nice hot end. Don't get me wrong, but it's very expensive. Do they still have the V6? Yeah, they still have some of the V6 in stock. Looks like they got a couple. But I think they're pivoting towards the Revo stuff, which makes sense. But either way, I think the V6 design is still a decent design. Like, how much more can you improve on a hot end? I mean, there's like been Slice done some cool stuff, but at the end of the day, if you have a big heat sink, a heat break, a heat block, and a thermistor and a nozzle and a heater cartridge, that's a hot end. All right. Max, have I thought about making breakout boards for printers with these weird setups? Or is that too much work? It would be a lot of work. And the thing is, like, would we sell enough to even cover my time to do them? That's the whole thing. Is like, if we're only gonna sell 10 of them, it's not worth my time to sit here and design a board, have it made. You know, we'd probably do a smaller batch, so I'd be hand soldering it. I don't think it'd be worth it. Plus, if you're gonna be going through that much trouble, I would rather just see you guys put new wiring to get rid of the breakout board entirely, because that's one more point of failure versus just straight wires that are easy to repair. Me personally, if I have issues with a ribbon cable on a printer, I'm just going to bypass it, like take the breakout boards off, take the ribbon cable off, and bypass it entirely. Hang on. The dogs are just like crawling over each other behind me. Anyways, Wesley's will be the last question. He said, what is the advantage of an Octo print over just a Wi-Fi module? So the Wi-Fi modules, I'm assuming you're talking like the little ESP ones. They're just super basic. There's no webcam support. There's no like third-party access like Octo Everywhere. It's just very basic. It's send G-code, start G-code, and do basic printer moves. Octoprint is a full-fledged system that's running on an SBC that's a lot more powerful than little ESPs. Don't get me wrong, I love the ESPs. I use them for different projects, but they're very limited. So if you want basic stuff, I mean, there are cool ESP projects to do basic 3D printer control. I found them very limited, and I also found that, too, they would be kind of unreliable. They would just kind of hang because they just don't have a lot of memory. They don't have a lot of horsepower for doing that kind of stuff. And again, I like having cameras on my printers. I like using stuff like Octo Everywhere to remotely access my printers and do like the AI failure detection. That's just me. I don't think they're worth the hassle because they're very limited. That's just my 2 cents. But anyways, yeah, we are at 5:03 here. So I started a couple minutes late, but we're ending a couple minutes late, so that's fine. Which means it's time for the doggo treats. Do you guys want treats? Do you guys want treats? Yeah? I get to replace a ball joint in my car later. Yay. That's what's in the little Amazon bag. Because it was cheaper to get it there than through Rock Auto, and they had Dorman, which is usually what I put. All right. They're right here. I don't know if you guys can see them. Look at them. They're like, hi, guys. What? Are we whining? Are we whining? Huh? Come here. No, we gotta sit. Shake. Good boy. Go. Comet, sit. Shake. Good boys. Good boys. Good boys. Oh, come here. Stop whining. Oh. Oh, you're so heavy. Look at this big boy. Remo's like, why am I being picked up? And now I can't get my chair over the glass mat. Why? Why? Just let me love you. I'm gonna get hit in the face. Remo! I just want to cuddle the dog, damn it. Hang on. Comet, on the other hand, stop being dead weight. Oh my god. Oh. Oh. Comet, on the other hand, is way more tolerant of being held. Although here's Remo doing stuff. So, anyways, I will see you guys later. Oh, trying to pick you up is exhausting. But bye-bye, guys. I will see you guys on the next one. Oh, where's my button? There it is. Forgot about the raffle. Hang on. I had to cut that short. I forgot. People are like, oh my God, I'm playing with people's emotions right now. Hang on. Where is my... All right. Let me reset. Permission to join everyone. Oh, this is interesting. The raffle actually can filter by... Remember the stupid points thing that it used to do? You can actually have it so people have to have points to enter any giveaways. That's interesting. I'm just going to leave it out for everyone. All right. What are we going to make it? I'm going to be clever. No, I'm not. There we go. It's going to be give me free stuff. So exclamation point, give me free stuff. There we go. Follow the directions in the chat. And the bot will pick you up. We got 2 minutes here. It's picking up everybody. Yay, the bot's working. Hell yeah. I'm trying to think if I got anything. Oh, I do have one other thing. I did buy... how many of you guys see that Creality just silently released another board with the worst goddamn model number ever? Do you guys see this? The free runs? Like, what is it? Diarrhea? Like, I don't get it. Oh, hey, look it. I just realized they gave me one of their crappy fans is gonna die in like 3 months. Yeah, that's just going in the trash. I'm not gonna replace their fan with another one of their crappy fans. But yeah, the E3 free runs. And the thing is here, the only reason I discovered this is somebody bought our 427 firmware and was like, it's not working. I was like, what do you mean it's not working? We've tested it. I don't know if I have a 427, but I have a similar enough Reality board in here. All right. So here. Just by looking at these, which one's the 427, which one's the free runs and which one's the 422? Can you guys tell just by like a glance like this? I'm not going to put it up close because I'll give it away. But like, can you guys tell the difference between these two boards? Like, because at first glance, they look the same. Like, there are differences, but at first glance, these look the same, right? Like, yeah. Yeah, the terminals are slightly different. They did put slightly bigger terminals on the free runs. No, neither has a full-size SD. They're both micro. It's meant to be a drop-in. I don't know if they're going to be switching the 427 over to this, but they sell both right now. But the thing is, I got these, and we're going to be doing firmware for them, just like we did the 427. I might start carrying them. I want to test it before I start selling them. But the big difference with this over the 427 is they actually have the TMC drivers in, they have them in UART mode, which is nice. So there's no potentiometer. So it looks like it could be a decent budget board that would overtake the 427. But right now, there's no firmware out for it other than their source code on GitHub, which I downloaded and it doesn't even compile. So there's that. But I have the pins. So yeah, UART from Creality. Yeah, I was shocked. That's why I bought it. I mean, other than that, it's going to be about the same as their 427. But yeah. All right. You get so excited that you get the runs. I have no idea. What does free runs mean? Like, what possible translation error could that be? Like, I don't understand. Although the product name, hang on, they have the product name in Chinese on here. Let me get my phone. let me see here. I'm going to see. I think I have the Translate app. Let me see. I think I got to install it. Hang on. You know the Google Translate, like that you can use the camera? Any idea how to install a Clipper on an old laptop and Flash with a Chiron? I would not use a whole ass computer to run Clipper. That sounds like a bad idea. And also like really inefficient. All right, let me see. I'm trying to find... Hang on. I want... Okay, so Chinese simplified. It detected that. And I want to... I want to translate that to English. Let's see. Yep, it still says free runs. The other Chinese text on here is just product name and material coding in Chinese, and then the other Chinese text on here is just says silent motherboard. That's it. I don't think there's anything else on here I can try to translate. Yeah. So I have no idea why they call it the free runs. I have no idea. It's a horrible name. But anyways, the giveaway is done. So we're going to go ahead and pick a winner. And I'm going to wrap the stream up. Run free. It's a horrible name. The free runs. Dear God. Maybe if we sell it, I'll call it something different. I don't know. The reality... I have no idea. Is there a model number on here? I will lead the charge in calling it something different. How's that? Is there a model number somewhere on here? This says CR4N7220801C10. So I think it's got 2208s on it. Although it says 2209s. Why would they have 2208 in the part number? I don't know. It's Creality. It's micro USB. It's not USB-C. So, anyways, we're gonna pick a winner here and see who gets the $20 gift card. Joe Galaska. Are you here, Joe? Joe. I'm gonna give it I know there's a slight delay. Hang on, don't go anywhere if he doesn't reply. Yep, all right. He's there. Winner messages. It popped up here. Joe is here. All right. So, Joe, all you need to do is send an email to streams@th3dstudio.com with like just like a I don't know, like a screenshot showing like your account to prove that it's you. Like I don't want to see like your private. Just like I don't know, you click the little Google My Account thing, it shows you like your stuff. I don't know, like pull up our channel and send us a screenshot there. And then I will send you an email with the gift card that you can buy whatever you want. So, all right. That will be it for today. I appreciate you guys that stopped by. And as always, happy printing. I'm going to actually leave for real this time. Thanks for reminding me that we didn't do the giveaway.